Hollow Knight. Some of you may only know it as that game people just won't shut up about in the comments of Nintendo Directs, but if you know any more on it, it's probably because you're insane and adore this game. And rightly so. It's genuinely one of the best games to come out this decade, but this doesn't mean I don't kind of hate it. Spoilers, by the way. This game is incredible, so do try it out yourself. You see, Hollow Knight is a Metroidvania. This, in short, means that the giant map is entirely opened up from the get-go, besides some later areas being locked behind certain abilities. The player's given very little direction besides these three fucks being important, and you just kind of have to get lost and figure it out. This is great if you enjoy going out there, exploring the land, and uncovering what the hell happened here and what your little guy's quest even is. However, I don't. I started the game 3 years ago, got lost one too many times, and gave up until finally beating it in March of this year, with my girlfriend basically telling me exactly where to go the entire way. You're probably wondering why I spent nearly 100 hours playing a game I wasn't super enjoying, and to answer that, it's important you know what I do enjoy in games like these. To unlock this information, press this big red button here. Thanks. Scattered throughout this genuinely ginormous map are beautifully crafted, incredibly well-designed boss fights. Almost all of them paired with unique and amazing music. This right here is what I love in video games. I mean, for God's sake, the boss fights in Undertale is what finally got me to play it, and if you've seen my last video, you would know that's now my third favorite game of all time. So when I was told that at the end of Hollow Knight there was a 45-minute long boss rush that ended with an extra difficult version of the game's final boss, I needed it. And so the quest began. On screen now are all the bosses I needed to encounter in order to unlock the final Pantheon, and these are the ones I had already encountered prior to learning about Godhome and the Pantheons hidden within it. All it took from here was a nice and quick sweep through the Grimm Troops DLC and a parade around Hallownest to take down the dream bosses, leaving me good to go into the depths of the Godseeker's mind. No, I won't explain. This game's lore required a multiple hour-long analysis to wrap my head around. Pantheons 1 and 2 were a breeze, which was to be expected. They were shorter and mostly bloated up with easier bosses from the early game. Pantheon 3 wasn't so bad either, except for these two. These two get no bitches. It was Pantheon 4 where our first challenge was met. You see, up to now, the Pantheons had been just the bosses, as they were usually met. Within P4, their dream variants are introduced to Godhome's horrific games. A boss's dream variant is faster, stronger, and bulkier, though fundamentally, they are the same fight, and didn't take long to tear down. The main challenge within P4 was 100% this fuck. Pure Vessel, a full-strength, agile Hollow Knight dealing double damage. The vibes are magnificent, but the difficulty curve here hit me like a truck full of steel and was the first time I felt like I needed to exit the Pantheon and actually practice a fight. Widely considered to be within the top 3 hardest fights in the game, I was finally in my element. And when I finally broke the shell, it wasn't enough. I didn't just want to beat the vessel. I needed to destroy it. Time kept ticking, hours passed, but eventually I emerged, satisfied. Confident enough to tackle the vessel practically hitless, and with that confidence, I re-enter Pantheon 4. It wasn't long until we were face to face with the vessel once more, and with hours of practice behind me, the Hollow Knight to be was struck down, leaving me nothing left to do but to ascend. This was it. Pantheon 5. 43 bosses, 6 benches, 1 night. The first attempt went about how you'd expect. I swung my way through the same bosses I'd beaten in the last 4 Pantheons with relative ease. However, P5 has a few tricks up its sleeve in a last-ditch effort to catch the player by surprise. What the fuck is this? This is the most fun, most hectic surprise the game has possibly ever thrown at me. I love the regular Mantis Lords fight, and spent way too long taking them down when I first encountered them, probably weaker than I should have been. But when I took down the first Lord and got hit with all 3 sisters raining down on me, it hit different. I could not have predicted this change with a gun to my head. It was awesome, and to this day remains one of my favorite fights in the whole game. It's just a shame that some of the other changes in this Pantheon are some of the worst things I've ever seen. Markoth is a name that strikes fear into the heart of Hollow Knight players everywhere. In short, he's a massive bit. For practically an entire day, my P5 runs would end either at Markoth or the fight after, which coincidentally was another bit. Markoth would either kill me off or leave me with low health and no soul for an easy Zote cleanup. They were a troublesome duo and the final obstacle before the real challenge. Now, I haven't really mentioned Grimm. He's the center of the Grimm Troop DLC and has really cool theming. He's also one of my favorite bosses in the entire game. He has 2 fights, one pretty early in the Pantheon and not really a struggle, and the Nightmare King. Oh my god. This is a boss fight, and on similar level to the Pure Vessels, so naturally, I needed the practice. After Grimm sits Pure Vessel, been there, done that, it's time for our final ascension. The Moth God herself, Lord of Light, Absolute Radiance. I died. You know, come to think of it, I probably could have just got more health before going into this. For days, I would claw my way up the tower, slash my way through the so-called gods of Hallownest, just to be tossed aside by the Radiance. These were no gods. These were mere obstacles blocking my rightful path to ascension. Attempt after attempt, day after day, I'd be struck down by the Radiance. But through sheer determination, one day, boss music of my own started playing. Killing these bugs no longer scarred me with emotion. The friends I'd met along the way meant nothing. These people meant nothing to me, and the Radiance was no exception. As she fell, I questioned, was this really it? Could I really have finished the great challenge of Hollow Knight in just a matter of days? The credits rolled, the curtain fell, and yet despite it all the challenge, I felt nothing. I still feel nothing. There had to be more, a secret ending, another boss even, but there wasn't. There was no more Hollow Knight to be played. I went back, I got all achievements, but still, no sense of accomplishment hit me. My journey was over. The game was done. But in doing so, I had made a hollow shell out of myself. A perfect vessel. Until Silksong 2025, let's go!